One of just 11 players and the only shortstop, get this, to have at least 200-plus home runs and 400-plus stolen bases. He's the only shortstop in that list.
Cooperstown, let's get it right.
Can you say Cooperstown, please, baby?
Okay, Jimmy, look, we're going to ask you about
Let's go.
We're going to ask you about the Futures Game in a second, but when you hear conversations like that about, these guys saying, hey, that's Cooperstown worthy, what do you think, and how do you view your legacy as it pertains to a possible Hall of Fame induction?
I mean, I need you all to go vote. I mean, you have votes. I mean, let's get this done. No, it's awesome. For me, it just shows that, when I played, I got the respect of my colleagues, and that's all I asked for. In the clubhouse, to be known as a good person before a good baseball player. I always wanted to be a leader and be a guy that, people could come to, teammates to come talk to, advice, whatever it was. Even guys that I didn't play with, if they had something, to say or needed, word of encouragement or advice, I'd want to be that for them. And then, when we put on a uniform, I'm trying to knock your head off. So, but it's a good thing. I really appreciate it. And, I went out there, played with a style that I grew up admiring, and a guy by the name of Ricky Henderson. So I had a little bit of that to my game, although there was no third person ever.
J-Roll don't swing at that pitch.
Hey,
J-Roll don't swing at that.
You get into Cooperstown, I'm going to need you to drop some J-Rolls on them boys.
That's right. If you get into Cooperstown, you can refer to yourself in the third person. Hey, you're going to get an up-close look at some of the great young talent in the system at the Futures Game. What is your approach going to be serving as manager for some of the best young players out right now? I've
been thinking about that, especially recently after the announcement. I've been going back and forth with Dale Matthews, who was the guy that recommended me for the position. And, I just want to make sure that they know, they're not far. They're not far, but you still have to put in the work and make sure that they're prepared mentally what it's like to be in the big leagues. You don't know until you get there. You think you're ready, and, the speed of the game gets a little crisper. Things that you can get away with in the minor leagues are now done on a big stage, and you're going to get criticized for that. So be mentally prepared, because athletically, they wouldn't be in that position. They wouldn't be here if they didn't have the talent. But knowing what it's like to go out there and grind every single day, that everything counts, and how to get through that. I think that's the biggest adjustment, because we see guys come up, and we call it the third tier effect. They go there in the minor leagues and they're raking. I mean, just world beaters, and they bring in that third tier, and it's like, what happens? The confidence goes away. The boos come in. The media is there every single day. There's nowhere to hide in the clubhouse. You have to be accountable. That's the part I think a lot of young players, especially if they struggle after having some success, that's the part that, they need to really wrap their heads around and work on how to get through that part.
Jay, I just think of all these guys on the grand stage, nervous as all get out. You've never been nervous in your life, like the smoothest in the game, right? I mean, how do you slow down that moment on that field with everybody watching for them that day?
Just understanding that baseball doesn't change. You still have to hit, you still have to run, you still have to throw and catch. And you just play the game. And there are times, and we'll share the story, that you just have to look up in the sky and realize that it's still blue, that these people are here to see you. They're here to see a show, so give it to them. And you may not have the best day at the plate, but you may do something defensively that can make them, rise and stand and cheer. So always look for the positive. And like I said, the stage is set. All they want is a performance, and you're the performer. Just like when you go pay to see a movie, you want to see a good movie, it's the same thing. It's just as reality TV.
J-Roll, that advice that you give those guys, I know you're one of the best teammates probably of all time in Major League Baseball history, and you still talk about being a good teammate. I was reading an article recently about Bryce Harper. Came out the gates scuffling out after he had gotten hurt with the elbow. Really wasn't taking the DH too much. But you sat down and talked a little bit about, hey, the best guys out there, the big poppies of the world, they talked about getting into a routine. Can you talk about that? And ever since you had that conversation, J-Roll, he is rolling, okay? Bryce Harper's rolling. So can you talk about that, of the conversation you had with Harp?
Well, I wish I could take credit for it, but, he was the one that had to put in the work and had to figure it out. And I just needed to, at the time, I felt I needed just to remind him of how good he was. And I used some colorful language that, Ken couldn't put in the article. But more importantly, exactly that. Understand that, look, I know that you're used to going out on both sides of the field and being able to contribute one way or the other. And when you take that away, you feel like you're half the person. Like I can only do half the job. But if I'm not doing that, then what else am I good for? And it's a new role for him. And it's actually a blessing in disguise, because without the DH in the NL this year, he'd really just be sitting there sulking away, because there would be absolutely nothing that he could do. But just to remind him, look, it's okay to struggle. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be in that space. And sometimes, from our teammates, it's like, oh, you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. You're going to work through it. We don't want to hear that, because you're not listening. You're just telling me, what you think I want to hear. And it's like, I don't want to hear that right now. I want to know that you understand what I'm saying. I was an outside voice. I hadn't been in the clubhouse. I don't hang around. I'll pop up here and there. But look, once you find yourself, then get back to being a good teammate. But you have to take care of you first. If you don't take care of you, if you can't find a rhythm or something for you just to, get yourself right, you're not going to be able to contribute. And then slowly work your way back into being, I don't want to say a good teammate, but into being a good teammate. Look, take care of you. People will understand. If you go, the team will go. Your attitude is going to show up on that field every single day. So if you're sulking, people are going to feed on that. If you have high energy, they're going to feed on that also. And it was just those little things that, he's accustomed to, but in a different role. So he went out there, he started smiling again. And like I said, I can't take credit for it. I'm just glad that he's back on his feet. He's banging. I think the Phillies have won like 5 or 6 in a row. He's looking like the MVP that he is. So I'm looking forward to what he has left for the rest of the season, and hopefully they get to turn that thing around.
Yeah, J-Roll, I mean, it's hard not to feel good after J-Roll comes and talks to you. Yeah,
exactly.
With his smoothness. I think we should call him J Butter, smooth as butter. But moving into this futures game, I remember how exciting it was for me, playing with guys of the likes of, Hunter Pence, Gio Gonzalez at the time. You making out this lineup, is there a guy that you're really looking forward to seeing, take the field, though, and really, can't wait to see what he has to bring?
You know what? I can't honestly say that as of now. I told Dale, give me the, once we get the team as soon as possible. Obviously, the catcher that who was I think Baltimore brought up. I was looking forward to seeing him, but he's already in the big league. So when you're the 1-1, you're kind of always a target, but he's not there anymore. So I'm looking forward to getting that lineup and seeing who's eligible and for how long, and then, like I said, let the boys go out there and play. I'm not going to sit there and act like I'm familiar with everyone on that card, but I just want them to go out there and play, enjoy the stage, and realize that one day they will be setting foot on this field, especially with the interleague play, that they'll be out there banging and putting on a show for the fans.
Well, Jimmy, we appreciate the time. We look forward to seeing you out in Los Angeles, managing the American League at the Futures Game, the SiriusXM Futures Game at Dodger Stadium. We appreciate the time, J-Roll. Thanks very much.